I feel so vindicated. Thank you, Baseball Hall of Fame, for getting most of my predictions right. Granted, I am more right than wrong with my baseball stuff. But to recap, the Hall of Fame elected Chipper Jones, first ballot. Jim Thome, first ballot. Vladimir Guerrero, second ballot. And Trevor Hoffman, third ballot, not second ballot like I said last week. Also correct was saying Edgar Martinez and Mike Mussina would not make to the Hall of Fame, but would gain some ground. Notably, Edgar Martinez finished with 20 votes shy of getting in, which means that in his 10th and final year on the ballot, he'll have a great shot. The one pick I miffed on was Omar Vizquel. I certainly think he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Certainly, I guess with the crowded field, not so many people felt, but 37% still a good show. I was kind of disappointed to see that two players I really liked from the Yankees, Johnny Damon and Hideki Matsui, were dropped off the ballot. I do feel that in the future, both will get in. Matsui definitely, should the Hall of Fame recognize Japanese players who split their time between the majors and the Nippon Baseball League in Japan. Johnny Damon, maybe not so much on the fact that his defense kind of failed him the second half of his career, but he was a very solid player in the batting average, and had he not struggled in his final season, he definitely would have had a strong shot at getting to 3,000 hits and definitely enshrining himself in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, 4 no doubt Hall of Famers have now been enshrined. So they found a permanent home in the place of forever, which is more that could be said for a lot of free agents right now. As I've said a couple times in the last several weeks, that there are plenty of free agents available. Of the 140 notable free agents remaining, you still have Yu Darvish, you still have Eric Hosmer, you still have Jake Arrieta, you still have Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, J.D. Martinez, Todd Frazier. The list goes on and on. Notably, some of them are taking out their frustration on the new pitch clock rules, whereas if a pitcher doesn't throw within 20 seconds, a ball is registered into the count, and if a hitter takes more than 30 seconds, he is issued a strike in his count. More notably, you have whisperings of collusion coming from the players and agents, similar to the 1980s when labor relations weren't enjoying their 20-25 years apiece that they're enjoying now. I can say for a fact it's definitely not collusion that's affecting this market. It is the new thinking of front offices. For example, the San Francisco Giants would love to have Lorenzo Cain manning center, but they don't want to go over the luxury tax to do so. Yeah, you could argue that for one season and then they have some contracts coming off the books that would bring it back down. But you see a similar mindset with the New York Yankees in adding a starting pitcher or a second or third baseman. You see it with the Los Angeles Dodgers, which was one of the reasons why they didn't enter into Giancarlo Stanton sweepstakes. And you see it with dozens of other teams throughout baseball. So my take is that it's definitely not collusion, but baseball's going to have to start talking about expansion really soon. A lot of players are going to be taking one-year deals or pillow contracts that allow them to opt out ahead of next off-season, which means this problem is only going to keep getting worse and worse with time. So the only way out I see it as is that we need more landing spots for these players. Also, Joe, Eric, I looked at the standings for the MAC conference. The women's basketball team in Marist is second place. So I can glean two things. One, we still have a better conference record than you guys in Siena. And two, we're still probably going to lose to Quinnipiac. Joe, I'll see you next week.